Autophagy, the body's built-in recycling and repair system, is increasingly seen as a cornerstone of longevity. It allows cells to eliminate damaged proteins and organelles, reduce inflammation, and maintain metabolic homeostasis, especially during periods of nutrient stress. However, triggering autophagy through dietary manipulation walks a fine line. Too much nutrient deprivation, especially over long periods, can backfire, leading to hormonal disruption, micronutrient depletion, and metabolic inflexibility. The goal, then, is not to starve the body into submission, but to strike a sustainable metabolic balance that encourages autophagy while preserving overall vitality. Low glycemic load diets may offer a promising and elegant solution to this challenge. They reduce the insulin burden and glycemic swings that suppress autophagy, while still providing the essential nutrients required to avoid malnutrition and endocrine disruption. Unlike extreme fasting or zero-carb ketogenic diets, low glycemic load diets focus not on eliminating carbohydrates, but on choosing carbohydrates that are slowly digested and absorbed, thereby minimizing blood sugar spikes. These include foods like lentils, steel-cut oats, non-starchy vegetables, berries, and whole grains with intact fiber. By moderating insulin levels, these diets create a metabolic environment where autophagy is not entirely shut down by chronic nutrient signaling. Insulin, while necessary for glucose management and growth processes, is one of the primary inhibitors of autophagy. When insulin is constantly elevated, as it often is in high-carb, high-sugar Western diets, cells remain in an anabolic growth state, reducing their capacity for cellular housekeeping. Lowering insulin through glycemic control subtly lifts this blockade, allowing the autophagic machinery to operate in the background. This is where low glycemic load diets shine. They support a mild, chronic activation of autophagy rather than an all-or-nothing on-off switch. Instead of relying on extended fasting windows or severe caloric restriction, which may not be suitable for everyone, especially older adults, those with chronic illness, or women of reproductive age, this dietary pattern allows autophagy to be gently and sustainably engaged across a longer period. Moreover, it prevents the catabolic stress that can arise when protein and calorie intake drop too low, leading to fatigue, muscle wasting, and hormonal imbalance. In particular, women are more sensitive to prolonged energy deprivation, which can negatively affect thyroid function, menstrual regularity, and cortisol balance. Low glycemic diets sidestep this issue by supporting stable energy availability while still dampening the insulin and glucose fluctuations that block cellular repair pathways. Additionally, low glycemic diets are inherently nutrient-dense when built on whole foods. They tend to provide ample amounts of fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and polyphenol, many of which support autophagy directly. Polyphenol like quercetin, curcumin, EGCG from green tea, and resveratrol have been shown to activate autophagy-related genes and enzymes, often through indirect effects on nutrient-sensing pathways like AMPK and SIRT1. Fiber itself, especially from prebiotic-rich foods like garlic, onions, and leeks, supports gut health and short-chain fatty acid production, key regulators of systemic inflammation and metabolic tone. This contrasts sharply with low-nutrient fad diets that emphasize macronutrient extremes at the expense of micronutrient balance. What also makes low glycemic load eating sustainable and supportive of longevity is its impact on hormonal harmony. By stabilizing blood sugar and improving insulin sensitivity, it reduces the risk of insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and obesity, all major accelerators of aging. At the same time, by maintaining sufficient caloric and protein intake, it protects against the loss of lean mass and bone density, which become increasingly important with age. This balance between nutrient sufficiency and metabolic restraint is crucial. Autophagy thrives when the cell is not overwhelmed with nutrients, but still has enough resources to function and adapt. Low glycemic eating mimics a mild, daily fasted state without the deprivation. Furthermore, these diets can be paired with intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating patterns to enhance their autophagic effect. For instance, consuming 2 or 3 balanced low-glycemic meals within a shorter eating window, such as 10 or 8 hours, can extend the overnight fasting period without the stress of full-day fasts. During these longer fasting intervals, insulin levels drop further, glucagon and AMPK rise, and autophagy is more robustly activated, particularly in tissues like the liver and brain. The result is a flexible, physiologically aligned rhythm of nutrient intake and cellular renewal. In conclusion, Low glycemic load diets represent an intelligent middle path between overstimulation and deprivation. They reduce insulin signaling and glycemic volatility, both of which inhibit autophagy, while providing the nutrients and energy needed for hormonal stability, immune function, and cellular resilience. This approach aligns with the body's natural rhythms: feeding and fasting, growth and repair, activation and rest. It offers a sustainable, nutrient-rich strategy for maintaining autophagic activity without sacrificing long-term metabolic health or quality of life. In a world increasingly polarized between extremes, this balance may be the real secret to aging well.